Or it's that one dude with a neck beard, which I mean, like, I got a neck beard right now, but he like only has a neck beard. You know what I mean? Are your chord progressions lacking, dude? Because guess what, dude? The chords are already made in this, dude. S tier. I'd probably put it number 3. Oxford Inflator is one of the most iconic plugins of all time, and they're ripping you off, baby.
Welcome back to the Home Studio Hangout podcast. I'm your host, Drew, here with my co-host, Josh. Josh, we are back.
We're back, baby.
You got a new mic.
I do.
Shout out Shure's new SM7DB mic. It seems to be working pretty well.
I don't like the switches on it at all. Like, whenever I opened it up and I saw the switches, I was real close to just like packaging it back up and sending it back.
But I will say, it is like mic, just straight mic into interface, right? Like, obviously you don't need a cloud lifter because it's got the 2 dB options, which are pretty cool.
This 18-foot long XLR cable all bunched on next. It's super easy. It's 18 and 28 dB gain, where I could just turn the whole circuit off. Because I was going to get an SM7 and then I was going to get a Soyuz launcher, because I've used the Soyuz launcher a lot and I really, 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 really like how it sounds.
Same.
But I was like, you know what? I hate plugging shit in. And so I just bought this, and then I figured, like, if I like in my next space, like if I have like a really permanent kind of setup, then I'll just get a launcher.
Yeah, but you also have this to just travel with you.
Yeah, it's nice.
Like, honestly, it's a great travel mic. Like, if you end up traveling for a session or you're like working out of
the packaging on it too. Remember the styrofoam?
Yeah.
That somehow like surpassed, it's just like a cart. It's like an egg carton now.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. I was like, well,
but it traveled to you, right? So
it's stupid. Oh, where's the styrofoam? Sure. I should Dude, I love how absolutely ridiculous that sounds. Like, I was like, first of all, I open it up. It's like an egg carton. I was like, I hate this. And then I looked at the switches and I just sent it back. Didn't even.
It's all about the package.
It sounds like an SM7 though, so that's cool.
Yeah, it does. It sounds really good. And I like the flex. You have a little more flexibility than even me. So that's pretty cool.
Another huge difference. SM7s traditionally have like a coarse matte black. This is extremely smooth. It almost feels like plastic. I know it's not plastic, but
yeah, it just feels like a little more.
Yeah, like if you eat fried chicken and then you grab this microphone, you're going to see it.
That from experience?
Yes, it's how I write. I have a bucket of KFC next to me
all the time.
Yeah, KFC is my muse. I think about Colonel, what's his name? Sanders? Thanks, babe.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think about him as I write love songs. So.
Yeah. Today, we're going to be getting into some stuff that I'm actually very excited about. It's something me and Josh wanted to do for a little bit.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be talking Ableton Live audio effects, and we're going to be tier list ranking these things.
Mm-hmm. Also, if anybody's watching this and they're like, oh man, he's just sitting there holding the mic. I have a mic stand, but I want to lounge. So
yeah, you'll see. He'll lounge later.
Yeah, I'll get into my lounging state soon.
So, all right. So I'm gonna pull up the tier list. Let's get this thing going. So this is as of Ableton Live 11. This is not updated Ableton Live 12. We're going to be ranking these based on how they compete with each other. So this is Ableton Audio Effects as of Ableton Live 11. And so I don't know how exactly this is going to go, but S through E tier, and we have I never use this tier, which there's a couple of these for me that will probably go in. So if we have the way we'll probably do this, me and Josh are going to agree on these, and we're going to have to convince each other of tier rankings. But then also, if I've never used it, the score is going to default to what Josh thinks and vice versa.
Yeah.
So Josh could just say S tier to something that I've never used, and I'll just be like, okay, sounds good. So first thing we're getting on is amp plugin. These
B.
are also in alphabetical order, I believe. I believe they're in order of like how they show up inside of Ableton.
Amp is a strong B.
So what are you using amp for most of the time, Josh?
Not amps. Not guitars.
Have you tried before? Because
Yeah,
I have
I used
actually
it today. It's not bad. It's B.
on guitars.
Yeah. But most of the time that I actually like use it, it's for other things. More
I
like
love
a
it for like
distortion box.
bass distortion and like vocal distortion. You know where it's actually really, really cool? As a vocoder edition.
I feel like you're trying to like sway me to a higher ranking than B.
So I think it's an A.
Dude, if you want my honest opinion, it should be less than a B. But I was like, I'm gonna be nice on the first one.
Okay. So then we can be B. We can be B. Yeah, because if you're thinking
It's-
it's C or D, then I think it's A because I think you get a
that
lot of
B
the
is
fact
fair.
the fact that it's comes with the program and
Also,
it is as
though,
good
if
and
we're-
usable as it is.
Here's the deal. If it was a distortion plugin, it would be like a strong B or an A. But because it's called amp and it has amp sims in it, the amp sims are
You're
all
comparing
pretty
it
not
against
good.
other amp sims.
Yeah, if we're comparing against other amp sims, it sucks. But
I mean that's true, but we're also kind of comparing it to its usability against other Ableton audio effects. That's kind of what we're doing. So
yeah,
and like so, I mean, of usability, how often are you grabbing it? That kind of stuff.
I use it a fair bit, but it never really sticks around. Because
Normally gets either replaced by something or.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that's fair. Yeah, so B, and then sometimes it'll accidentally linger.
Yeah, I honestly, I think the last time it made it onto something, I was like layering an 808 with it. So
Yeah, and I will say I love that the Blues amp is the cover for it because that's actually probably the best amp sim in it
I agree.
for like actual guitar. The next one we have auto filter. I think this is like a D or a C.
No shot. Hey, have you scrolled through the different filters?
Yeah, I have.
Did you know that Ableton actually has self-oscillating filters?
I did, but that's what I don't use it for that. I use it for I use the combination. So I will do that sometimes. Yeah, that's kind of where I end up using it. Now I will say it is a lot faster to automate.
Yeah, it's way faster.
Like if I'm just trying to like grab something to do a quick like low pass automation thing, I definitely always grab this.
I view autofilter.
That's what makes it like a
utility.
C for me.
Yeah,
that's what makes it like a C for me.
C is fair. However, I highly recommend that you try out the different filters in it.
Yeah, I will. For me, the reason it's not above that is because anything other than basic filtering or basic, I want to automate this real quick. I like if I wanted to, what it's for is auto filtering. You know what I mean? Like setting the time and like having it move over time. Yeah, I just use the LFO
that's a great
plugin.
Point. It is supposed to be because it has the envelope and then the LFO, and I typically use neither of those.
Exactly, that's the thing. So what is for what it's supposed to be used for? I don't use it at all. I actually use the EQ8 with the LFO plugin.
Yeah. Okay, it's a strong. You know what? Why don't we be mean? Let's put it at D. Do better.
Put it at D.
Yeah. Well, $750 program, and you give me a trash auto filter. You kidding me? $230.
That's why I said D is because I don't use it what it's supposed to be used for.
Yeah, get your shit together, Ableton.
Most of the time. The next one is auto pan. I actually use this a lot.
A.
Yeah, A for me for sure. It's borderline S, honestly.
Well, also, you know that it can also function as like an LFO tool.
Yes.
If you turn like what
So-
is it? It's like the offset and the phase all the way up, then it'll duck volume.
Yeah, it's essentially an LFO tool with
Yeah,
like
so maybe we
incredibly good
bump that up
controls.
to S. Do you think we should do S?
We can drop it in S for now. It's
I have
low
my
S.
default set up to just a 1 bar shtick, and so like as soon as I
Mhm.
load it up, it's just done. It's like, oh, I want it
Yeah.
to dance around my head in time.
I tend to use it a lot. I mean, I don't even have what is it, a Pan Man from Sound Toys. I don't even have that
hate
because I don't
Pan Man.
need it.
I've always
Then Pan Man would be the only other, in my mind, Pan Man's like one of the only other ways to do this effect.
Yeah. It's funny because in Cubase I always use their auto pan. So when I started using Ableton, I just used it. I've had Pan Man for almost 10 years and I've maybe used it twice.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah,
It's I just want it to do a simple, typically it's a 1 bar thing that I want or a 2 bar thing. And if I can't accomplish that in less than, 3 clicks, I get upset.
Yeah. The next thing is actually the first thing I haven't used. It's beat repeat.
I've used it once. It's more of a DJ.
So what
tool.
is it? What does it do?
It's exactly what it says. It's literally here. I could show you.
It sucks.
Is it just like the DJ thing where it like repeats a bar or
Yeah, it's
repeats
like,
a section of time?
I think so.
Okay, I got you. So this is more for the DJ side of
Well,
things.
let me just double check. Because I don't want to say something wrong and then like some idiot's gonna be in our comment section like, hey, you're wrong, Josh. Well, yeah, I'm wrong about a lot of things. I'm human, okay? Let me find like a quick like loop to load up. I'm not signed into my splice. Oh god.
You just made this
Cymatics.
significantly harder for yourself.
Where's Cymatics at? Okay, hang on. All the things that I never use. Is it Utopia? Yeah, it's great. Let's use that. Watch like some huge rapper just drop the song with that sample and we're gonna get taken down.
Probably. So you're just checking it real quick. Is that what you said? To make sure it does what it said, what you think it does.
Can you hear that?
No, I can't hear that.
That's right. You wouldn't be able to hear that because of how the audio is routed. That
Yeah.
sucks. It's
Yeah.
actually kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, so explain what it does because I don't have anything.
It basically is just the DJ tool.
Okay.
You could set the grid. You could set the interval that it happens.
Do you feel like it's? I mean, I've never used it. I'm fine with putting it in. I never use this.
There's a gate function.
That
I
can
would
actually
never-
be really sick.
I would never fucking use this thing if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
the gate,
that's the thing is I don't
think the gate is gonna do like a stutter thing.
That's exactly where I would have thought that it could have been used.
It's
All
not
right, so I'm
doing
going to
that.
drop this, and I never use this because
Yeah, this thing kind of sucks. I hate it.
I don't. Well, if you're using it for live stuff,
No,
it's
if
probably
you're-
awesome.
If you're using the DAW for the reason that it was named, then Beat
Yeah.
Repeat is probably like your go-to. You're probably like, doing your little DIY like beat meetup, pretending you're doing your big boiler room set and like you're just living on
Yeah.
Beat Repeat, baby. But I would never use it.
Yeah, for like actual production, and we wouldn't really have a reason to. The only time I could actually see that being used if we just wanted to like mangle some stuff, which could actually be fun. But I'm still gonna put it, and I never use this because that's a very niche use case.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So the next thing we have is cabinet. This is
Gas.
their
Not really.
this is their what's it called? Convolution like
It's their
cabinet loader.
Yeah, it's just a cab
IR
loader.
Yeah.
It's about as good as their amp plugin. and I use it mostly on things that aren't guitars or bass.
Really? So I will default to you on this because I actually have never used this plugin.
Oh, really? It sucks.
Yeah. I've never used it.
It's passable. Like I can use it.
Okay.
I can make it sound good if I want to, but I've used it more.
Can
on
you load your
808s
own
than
stuff?
anything else.
I'm actually going to pull it up in
No.
Ableton real quick. I want
No,
to
you can't, which is stupid. If they wait, what if they updated it for Ableton 12? Hang on.
Yeah, that's the only thing. You can check in Ableton 12. I can't.
Cab innet. No, you can't. I'm wondering if you could go into like the options folder though and add in stuff. You know what I mean? But the 410 bass is pretty okay actually. It's not that bad.
So I'm gonna have to try that. I got some bass. I do like it's got a dry wet, so that's kind of interesting. You could do some like very weird stuff.
I've always thought that might be sick. In like the main reason why it ends up being used on like 808s is because of the dry wet. But I don't know why it's there because like if you use it as a cab IR, it just sounds.
You're
bad.
not gonna want a dry wet. Yeah,
you don't want a dry
unless
wet.
You're splitting it for some reason. So,
yeah. Like,
okay. So what would you
weird?
Would you put this in E as in like basically not usable, or would you put it in D on like it's usable for in E? Okay,
I put it in E. So the only time I ever use it is if like I don't have my iLock and I want to just like want to play guitar.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So like the nichest of niche use cases.
Yeah, like it's just like Amp. I think it made it onto a song like maybe once or twice, and it was on an 808.
Yeah, but Amp is just more usable.
Yeah,
in general. Got it. All right. Channel EQ is next.
Garbage.
I need to pull this up.
I use it.
Channel EQ.
This is essentially just use it.
You do?
Because I'll type in EQ and it pops up before like EQ8.
Oh.
So I accidentally load it up and then I'll be like, oh, whatever. I'll just do my thing. And then I try to make it work and then it never works.
So it's just got like a filter, a low band, a mid band. It's basically EQ3 with a filter.
I don't even think it has a filter, does it?
The channel EQ does.
Channel EQ. Oh yeah, it has the low end roll off.
Free, but EQ3 has a filter. It has a high and low filter.
I've never used EQ3 if I'm being honest with you.
I've used that for live sets. It's really good for live sets.
I hate how it looks.
Yeah, it's gross. A channel EQ is like a more
filter though.
Huh? Yeah, it's got some nice filters on it actually. So where I've used EQ3 more than because the thing about if we're talking about channel EQ doesn't have the ability to change what the filter is.
You know what, dude?
The filter is just what it is.
Are these like curves like based off of like an analog thing?
Oh, it has to be. I would assume it's based on like a. I would assume it's based on like if I had to guess, 1073 EQ.
That's what
is what I would have to guess.
I don't know, but like if you turn down the high band, it like literally does a high cut.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know, but I would put it in E because
it's never fast enough for me. Like I've definitely used this quite a bit just because it's like, oh, it's there and I just need like a little move done easily, you know?
So maybe it's D for you then. So kind of sitting in the same place as auto filter, like low D.
It's like a reluctant D. Yeah. I'll give it a reluctant
D. That's fair. That's fair. More usable than the cabinet, but not as quite as usable as auto filter.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Moving on is the chorus plugin, chorus ensemble. So this is just chorus. So this is a little older, but chorus ensemble is what it's updated to.
S tier, dude. You get a chorus.
I love this plugin actually.
The vibrato rips.
I love this plugin.
The warmth knob, fire. The only thing that I wish that you could do is control just how wide it is.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's
yeah. I
my
see what you
only
mean.
complaint, dude. It's my only complaint. I love this
So
plugin
that
to
you could
death.
automate the width and like choruses and stuff.
Yeah, like they have a mount and feedback, which is cool, but it's rare I want feedback on a chorus.
Yeah, I'm putting that in S tier for sure.
Yeah, the warmth
Above
knob
or
on that is
below
crazy.
AutoPan though.
Oh, I mean, so far this is the best plugin that we've talked about, hands down.
I'd have to agree with you on that. I'd have to
Because
agree with
not
you on that.
only
I use
does
that
it work as
crap all the time.
advertised like AutoPan, but it's also very creative.
And it's also the thing about S tier is like for S tier for me, it has to be like I'm not gonna go look at other plugins that do similar stuff.
Yeah, and I don't.
And if anything, it beats out most plugins that are third party that do similar things.
Facts. That is facts.
So like the chorus one, like the only thing I could think that would be even close to similar is like the micro shift, you know. But I think you have more control. You have more control over everything in this plugin.
Yeah.
And same thing is like Sound Toys, Pan Man. Like the auto pan in Ableton is just better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a good bit of these to go through. Next, the compressor plugin. You know where I mainly use this actually? If I need to sidechain something,
Whack. You should be
or
using
like
this
ghost
plugin way more.
sidechain, or like
This
ghost
is-
sidechain.
This is the best default compressor plugin in any DAW.
Are you sure? Because
Yes.
I actually use glue compressor more.
You kidding me, dude?
Yeah, dude. I use glue compressor so much more than this.
That's gross. No, my opinion is an S tier, but it sounds like you only use it for dumb things. So an A is fine, I guess.
I would put it in. I put it in A. Like it's
that's
still
fine.
super useful.
That's
I
fine.
still use it all the time. I
That's
just
okay.
don't think it's as nearly as good as
What I love
auto
is that
pan
you could
or the
change.
chorus ensemble.
You could change how it looks, which is like the main reason why we use certain EQs. So I have the one set up where it's just threshold, gain reduction, output, like the tiny one.
Yeah,
Rips, dude. Rips so
the
hard.
wide one, and you have all the
And then you
extra
also have
functionality.
Yeah, then you have 3 different options. You have peak, you have RMS, and expand, which is great. Fire. And you can
Yep.
control the knee size, dude. Oh, I don't know. And then the makeup game.
Yeah.
Dude.
From a I probably do. So this is me realizing I probably do need to use this more.
Yeah.
100%.
Are you a Pro C user?
No.
All right, good. I was gonna say
No,
because if you are,
if
and you're not
I would
using
use this over. I would use this over Pro C.
Yeah,
for like basic
dude, we should talk
compression.
about how trash some plugins are one day.
You gotta realize I'm not doing a whole lot of mixing in Ableton.
Yeah.
I'm so like I've most of the plugins when I use them, I'm using them from a production standpoint, like a creativity. Like I'm not mixing really. So that's why I was saying when I grab this, most of the time it's for sidechaining.
Yeah. I really like that compressor. Just set it on a fast setting and it just rips. I use like for clean
For vocals.
compressors, I either use that or I use TDR Kotonikov or I use RComp.
Solid.
It's great.
Solid choices. I think it is probably the best clean compressor I've ever heard that comes with a DAW.
I hated it for a long time because I didn't realize that you could just change the meter layout.
Oh yeah, that does help. Giving you the different
stock
visual
one
options
sucks. Like that Neutron. It's they do the same thing as Neutron where it shows like that and then it shows the threshold come down. I hate that. Freaks me out.
I like the waveform dip one. That's my favorite one.
Yeah. So
because since I'm using it for side chaining, it's a nicer visual.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's the next one? This I have to actually look at. I think It looks like it is Corpus.
Oh no, this is S tier.
Corpus.
Yeah.
So I actually have not used this. I do not know what it is.
What?
Okay, so let me explain Corpus to
What
you.
is this?
Actually, let me pull something up. Actually, well, you won't be able to hear it.
You can just send it to me or something, like text it to
Man,
me.
this sucks, dude. So Corpus is really, really cool. So Corpus is basically like a physical resonator, like a physical modeling resonator of some sort. So my favorite one is the tube. So you have all these different options, right? You have a beam, you have a marimba, you have a string, a membrane, plate, a pipe, and a tube. You're then able to adjust the decay and like the radius of this physical resonating thing.
So is it like putting it in a space, basically?
Yes and no. So the idea is that you're like, say if you were to hit a pipe and then make an IR out of the pipe.
That's pretty much what this is.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
It's
crazy.
That's
so like
crazy.
My favorite use for this is to do things that like would make a old man cry. I recently put it on drums on a verse of a song because like I couldn't get them to sit back the way that I wanted them to. A lot of the rooms I had didn't really sound right. They just weren't weird enough. And so I was able to use Corpus on the tube setting. I found it in a place where it was like the least like phasey feeling, you know? And then you're able
I'm sure a lot of these has some weird phasey things to them.
Oh yeah. This is not the type of thing that you should be putting on like kick snare, you know?
Even though some of the presets are bright snare, drum reso gate, drum to bass synth.
Right. And so there's like a spread function, which is like the detune of like the two resonators. And then there is you could tune it to a frequency or a pitch. It has a nice little, it shows you what pitch it is. So that way like the fundamental of like where the resonator starts can be in tune with said
the
thing.
song and or with the snare.
Yeah, there's actually a really good preset on here called I think it's kick. It's one of the kicks: kick loose, kick medium, kick tight. If you ever have a kick that just sucks, but you really like the tone of it, and you need low end thump, try those. And it's just like, it's almost like the, what is it called, like the voice of God thing.
Yeah.
But it's not quite just EQ. It's really cool. I love this. And then there's a built-in LFO and filter. So you could filter what, obviously like the total amount of it. And then you can also do the LFO. So it'll adjust like the decay or radius parameters, which is super sick. And then you could also control the width, which helps out a ton. So I love Corpus. It's probably one of the most creative plugins I think ever made. And it's very, very fun.
Interesting. So, okay. So where would you put that, since you've used it significantly more than I have? Where would you put that on this list?
This is all the way at the top because I think like this is something I haven't been able to replace anywhere else. Like I've literally been working in other DAWs and opened up Ableton just to reuse Corpus and render the file and import it into like Pro Tools or whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But I mean, since you never used it.
Yeah, I've never used it, so I wouldn't know. But no, I'm defaulting to you for sure.
Okay.
On that
works.
Because I have no place to put it. So no, that's fair. I mean, it also, to be fair, like it sounds super cool. I just didn't know what it was, and so I just have never, had a reason to grab it.
It's really really cool, dude. It combines like so many.
I've just never heard of a thing that does that either.
Oh, dude. And then so I got into using it because of the presets that it comes with. All of the ones that start with loop. There's like hollow, metal, needle, move, whatever. I started using them on like ear candy percussion just to make them move a little bit.
Yeah.
and it was so sick. And then I was like, oh, I could do more with this. And so I started putting on guitars and drums and bass and all kinds of weird things, and like just kind of figure out like what can I get away with, what can't I get away with. It's very, very aggressive, and it's something
Yeah.
that you have to like sit around and play with, because if you load it up on the default setting and just like move like the whoa, sorry, and just like move the little fader, not fader, but there's
Yeah.
a grid on it, and you just like do that real quick, you're gonna be like, oh, I hate it, and then get rid of it. But if you play around with the settings and the different modes and all that, it's very, very cool.
Sick. Yeah, we'll leave it at the top of S tier because I'm gonna check that out for sure. Next, the delay plugin.
Okay, you know what's crazy? I didn't start using the delay plugin until like a month ago.
I feel like so two things. I feel like I started using the delay plugin when I first got Ableton, like forever ago, and it was okay. It was fine. It was a built-in delay plugin. It wasn't anything fancy. And then so then as I got more plugins, I kind of like stopped using it. And then I don't remember when it was. It may have been this year. It may have been end of last year. They did like an update to it or something. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna check this out
Oh, did
now.
they really?
And I think that's when they added like the different mode. It must have been when they added like the different modes or something like that.
Oh, okay. Because I hated
But
it
what
at
I
first.
Yeah, me too. I was like, it was like just kind of a whatever clean delay plugin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the width is super sick.
Yeah. It's
Actually.
super sick. So what I love doing with this is I love filtering it to like whatever I want to be repeated. And then I just
Mhm.
I still hate the subdivision function. Like how it's just
Yeah,
one,
it's
two,
not
three,
great.
four, five, six. Just
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Just give me note values, even though those technically are note values. I just don't like it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I really, really enjoy using the LFO tool in this to
Mhm.
modulate what the filter is, and then depending on what it is, like the repitch sounds crazy whenever you modulate the time, and then of course like fade and jump or whatever. But
100%.
it's so sick
No,
on
yeah.
like drum machines. If you want like if you're going for like an old school drum machine sound and you want like a little bit of movement in it, you just like put
Mhm.
that filter down pretty tight and then just play with the modulation, and it'll get wonky
Yeah,
real
I mean,
quick.
I really like it. It's so for the couple of times that I have mixed in Ableton or the times where I'm like doing a very specific production move, it's a vocal throw magic, bro. It's like if you want, you can do basically anything with one plugin for vocal
Yeah,
throws.
it's
Or
great.
like guitar repeats and stuff like that. Like it is awesome.
Yeah, and I think what sets it apart is the fact that you can modulate the
Mm.
time, which is so
In
sick.
inside of the plugin and
Yeah,
also have the width be like essentially super wide, which for like certain effects, or if you're making like one shot impacts or like vocal note things, it's really great for production choices,
Yeah.
especially like sample making and stuff.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, I would say
I would say high B, low A, because it's definitely not better than the compressor.
oh no, it's definitely not. I was gonna say A. Because like
Okay,
at the end of
so
the
we'll put it
day,
in A below the compressor.
there are many, many times whenever I end up still reaching for Echo Boy instead of that
Agreed.
plugin. You
Agreed.
know.
And that's my main delay that I use for
But
most things.
but because it does something weird, it's definitely not a B.
Yeah, sometimes when I want to, it's definitely like my number 2 or 3 for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Echo Boy, sometimes H delay, or this basically.
Yeah.
So, the next one is super sick. It's the drum bus plugin. I use this sometimes. This was a recent addition, actually. Like, this was Ableton 10, I think, when they put this in. But I
That
didn't
was
start
like
using
7
it
years
until
ago.
11. Maybe it was 11 when it came in. I don't remember, but I feel like I didn't start using this until the last couple years.
I
Whenever,
used it a lot when I first got Ableton, and then I kind of stopped because
so that was mine, and then
it's a little
sometimes I'll
too
use it.
heavy-handed.
You know when I do use it, which is kind of nice, is when I'm doing MIDI drums and I'm like writing, and I just want like a low latency, no samples added plugin to be my drum bus plugin.
Yeah,
I use this.
I think I would give this a B because it is
Yeah.
because it's extremely good at what it was meant to do, which is
Yes.
be a good drum bus thing for EDM songs.
And be super heavy handed.
Yeah.
It is very heavy handed.
Yeah, that's the main reason why I stopped using it. My drum bus approach got way different than what it used to be. So
yeah, you just it's
I
but
still
yeah, it's
use
definitely
it
meant
sometimes because the
it's meant for
transient
EDM,
designer
obviously.
in it is pretty cool.
Yeah, and the what is it? The reverse transients are super sick. Like pulling the transients down is awesome. The other thing that's really cool is it on 808s actually is really cool. Similar thing to what you were talking about is like if you want to add a tone, like a low end sub to your 808 because it's not just like there's not enough, or maybe you're using a sample and it's not like, it's been processed too much so it doesn't have the oomph. You can use that boom and then have the frequency and shift it to find the key. It's freaking awesome. But yeah, I would agree with you on, I think, what would we say? B. I would agree under amp.
Yeah.
I'd probably agree with that.
No,
Yeah.
over amp.
I'd probably agree with under amp. You want it above?
Yeah. It's way more usable than amp. It's just too heavy handed for my silly little indie songs.
Yeah, that's fair. My silly little indie songs.
That's what I do, dude.
That's what I do, dude. This episode of the Home Studio Hangout podcast is brought to you by Bliss. Bliss is a French audio developer focusing on developing creative and intuitive synths and effects. They developed over 25 different plugins for Windows, Mac, and iOS for all of my iPhone and iPad producers. You can discover plugins such as the Bliss Monolith, which is a mono synth they have for free, as well as the Bliss Arpeggiator, Bliss Megalith Wavetable Synthesizer, or Bliss Voices, the ultimate vocal harmonizer. Go to bliss.com, that's BLEASS.com, and use the promo code Home Studio Hangout, all one word, to save 20% off of your next order. Thank you to Bliss for sponsoring this episode of the Home Studio Hangout podcast. Now, let's get back to the conversation. All right, this one's interesting. I actually don't use this one, but I know a lot of people that do use it, which is the Dynamic Tube plugin.
I have used it very far and few and far between. I don't really use it. I mean, I do. It's okay.
Actually prefer pedal to this.
I try to. So what's interesting is there's like an envelope in it, right? And so like that's kind of like its whole shtick is that like you can. I've said shtick so many times this episode. God.
Yeah, you have envelope A, B, and C, and it's basically got like a. It's basically got like. It's either very sharp, and then A is very sharp. B creates like a little bit of a dip, and then C is more like parabolic.
Yeah, I started playing around with it because,
and you can adjust the envelope with the envelope knob.
Yeah, I started playing around with it because I've heard people who like swear by it, and I just never really had a reason to use it, and so I started using it on drums because I'm very fascinated by that, right? Like the different preamps react differently to transients and whatever. I just don't think I've gone like deep enough in it yet to like really have a true opinion on it.
I'm cool with dropping this in the I never use this category.
Yeah, that's fine. Because I have a feeling that it rips. I just haven't figured it out.
I just haven't had the time either.
It's kind of like Corpus. I haven't had the time the first time you look at Corpus, you're like, this is way too weird, and then like you figure it out and you're like, oh, this is like the best plugin ever. And so I have a feeling that Dynamic Tube might be like that, but it also might just be like drum bus.
Yeah. So I would agree. That's going in. I never use this. The next one is actually my favorite delay over the delay plugin, which is the Echo plugin.
I really like that one.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It does. It's probably the closest thing I found to Echo Boy.
I used it a
Or-
ton, and then I stopped using it because I got really fascinated by the LFO and the delay plugin. I would
Which is
probably
fair.
give Echo a strong B.
Under delay, I think it's better than the delay plugin.
You think it's better?
Mainly because so you have the echo section, you get the same modulation section, but you get more options with the modulation section,
Okay.
more different LFO options.
Yeah, we could put it at A.
It's got a built-in reverb post delay, but you can set the reverb to be pre or post delay.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
What the?
Open up that plugin right now, dude.
Hang
It's
on.
crazy.
Hang on.
You can also
Oh,
split the
there
left
is
and
a
right.
reverb. Yeah, I never used
Yep.
that.
Yeah, and you can set the decay. You can change if you want it pre, post, or be a feedback kind of reverb.
I really just
The
like
character
how it
section.
looks.
The character section, on the character tab on the top.
Whoa.
You can add wobble. You can add noise. You can have it duck. You can have it be a gated echo, which is super sick.
Yeah, put it above delay.
To me, this
need
is
to
like
use it
top
more.
of A.
Yeah, that's
to me,
great.
this is top of A. It's a crazy flexible
Yeah.
plugin.
I'm sorry.
And when
I didn't realize that I haven't dove into either of the two other pages of settings on it.
Yeah, dude, it's once you get into like the pages of settings that it has, especially the modulation stuff is wild, but it's the character stuff for me that's crazy.
Yeah.
I've found that you can actually make a really great lo-fi guitar. I'm actually probably going to build a rack for this, like a lo-fi guitar rack for like clean guitars with just the amp, an EQ after the amp, echo, and then like spectral resonator or something, like some sort of like reverby type thing, or maybe even just like the convolution reverb or something.
Cool.
The hybrid reverb is what I'm trying to think of. It's actually pretty sick.
Nice.
All right. So the next thing on here,
I'm struggling with this mic. I'm used to being hands free.
holding it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like can't get comfy.
So the next one, it actually doesn't have. So this is obviously this list is based in. I think it's based in standard because it doesn't have any plugins on it that are Max for Live plugins. So we can talk about those at the end.
Yeah.
And
I
kind of where
don't
we would
use
put
too
those.
many of them.
I use a handful of them, but these are like the basic ones that come with, standard, which is great. So we're skipping one of these on my list and we're going straight to EQ8. EQ8, as far as an EQ plugin, is good. I think the only time I use it though, I would never pick it over Pro Q. Even though it is basically the same as Pro Q.
The reason why I use
like
it is because the bands are more floppy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like less surgical. I would give.
I do. And I think that's why I use it. Because when I'm using Pro Q or like picking an EQ like this, I want something surgical.
Yeah, I would do a high A.
I do think it's probably one of the best stock EQs though.
You know what though? I was just thinking that it's literally the best stock EQ plugin out of any DAW.
Yep, it's better than Pro Tools. Pro Tools suffers from it looking gross though. The UI just looks gross on the Pro
It's
Tools
better
one.
than Cube.
But it also
actually,
doesn't
no. It's
have
about the same as Cubase's. Yeah, no. High A is fine.
high A. I
Yeah.
do love that you can do the solo band thing. Like they added that. You have mid side. You have
Oversampling.
the frequency spectrum thing. Adaptive EQ can be turned on.
Adaptive EQ.
I've never even
Adapt
played with
Q.
that. Come on. Let me
It's
boot it up.
It's called Adapt. It's called Adapt Q.
What's that mean?
It's just an on or off thing.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of that.
The thing I don't like, and this is the one thing that does put it above or below Pro Q for me, is it's kind of limited on bands. But
Bro, it got 8
how
bands.
often am I
You don't
how
need
often
8
am I
bands.
using it more than 8 bands? How
Yeah,
often am I using more than 8
you only
bands?
need like 2. You'll be all right.
Yeah. I agree with you though. High A. I would put it below Echo for me personally.
That's fine.
I think Echo just does something that no other plugin, very few other plugins do.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have a feeling that Echo actually should be an S tier, but top of A is still good. I still tend to grab other delays sometimes.
Throw it
That's
in
the only
S.
thing that's keeping it out of S here.
You know, I don't care.
I'll leave it at A. The only thing
Alright.
that's for me is that I tend to still grab other delays other than Echo.
Yeah, that's fair. Alright, what's the next
EQ3 E tier.
E tier. Awful.
I never used that shit.
Yeah, dude. Okay, yeah, tell me more about how your DJ career is going to all the EQ3 fans.
Yeah. Here's a good one that I know a lot of people use in the sound design world. Erosion.
Erosion's very cool.
It's just super sick.
I don't have a use
it
for it most of the time, but it's very cool. I try it a lot, actually. I try to make it work a lot because I think it's a really cool tool. But I'm just not doing crazy things. Yeah, it's very good.
I would put it in C.
Yeah,
actually, this could be a very
C
good C. Cool. It's a very good C plugin because the thing is about Erosion is that I know what is capable with Erosion. I am just not smart enough to make it happen.
Well, it's also one of those things where like you can do it with other plugins too, but
sure, but also I'm not making that kind of music that would need it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I'm not destroying stuff most of the time.
I am.
All right. External audio effect.
Bro, get it out of here. Why is that even on the list?
It's on it. It's actually kind of interesting because it's got its own plugin. Like most DAWs do this. This is actually a Ableton weird thing, right? Most DAWs do this as an output option, right? Or as like a bus send option, right?
No, that's okay. So every DAW, to my knowledge, you're able to either set it up as like a plugin where you like it sends out through the inputs and outputs that you choose, or you can do like the whole aux send thing. But no, I'm fairly certain that Pro Tools does, or else I feel like a lot of people when it use Pro Tools. I know for a fact Cubase does.
No, that's what I mean. But I feel like Ableton's the only one that has a plugin specifically for this. Other DAWs don't have that.
No, they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
I thought that you just did. I thought you just did it as an output or as a bus send.
No,
not
I know
as like a plugin
fact,
that you use.
Wait here, hang on.
This is also, to be fair, something that I have no reason to use.
Yeah, same hardware.
I literally have no reason to use this at all. So where are we putting this baby, this bad boy?
I've never used.
Never used? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Cubase definitely does it. Pro Tools.
I thought Pro Tools just did it as like you did it as a send.
I don't think so, man. Because that would make things really hard.
Or as just like an in out kind of thing.
Hardware effect units into Pro Tools and use delay compensation. Yeah, because there's like actual inserts that you can set up.
So it's just a different type of insert, basically.
Yeah, and
For
then
them
it's just
as well.
yeah. Once you set up the inserts, it's on the drop down list. Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's
Okay.
why we've
Yeah, I
never
just
seen
have
it because you have
never-
to configure it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah, I would have no reason to have known that.
Yeah, but that's like a common workflow for DAWs.
Gotcha. It's going in. I never use this because I've never touched that plugin. The
Same.
first time I ever opened it was just now.
Yep.
The filter delay is next.
Never used it.
I also have never used it. We're gonna drop
This
that.
is getting
in there.
boring real quick.
Because they're like filter delay. Have no reason to have used that.
Why do I
Echo
care?
does that.
Yeah, do better.
Echo does that, and the delay plugin has that kind of too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only thing that it does is it's got multiple delays with a bunch of different filters. So you have a left, right, and a right at the same time, and you can pan them in different directions. So I mean, I guess it's kind of cool.
Actually, yeah, I loaded this up like last week. I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah, I don't have a reason to use it. I'm sure a lot of people have reasons to use it.
I'm sure someone out there's like, it's actually the only delay that I use. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
So this has it's labeled differently on mine. The phaser flanger is next
Fire.
because it's listed as flanger.
Gas. It's great. Definitely
it's got
not
one
S.
of the best. No, it's got
might
one of
be
the better
B.
doublers I've ever used though.
Yeah, I think it's
I
a
would put
strong
it in B.
Yeah, that's a strong
I
B.
agree with that. Definitely agree with that. Better than drum bus. I don't use it as much as the compressor or the delay plugin though, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's got a great doubler on it. And that's kind of mainly what I use it for.
It
in
sure
a pin,
do.
in a pinch doubler. I don't know what this is. This other plugin is. I gotta figure out what this other plugin is.
What is that?
Hold on.
What are you? An idiot sandwich.
We'll come back to that because maybe I'll figure it out as we're going.
We'll be right
We're gonna
back.
skip that one. We're gonna skip that one and move over to the gate plugin.
Never really used it. I use it sometimes.
I have external gates.
I only ever use it if I need wait, did you say you have external gates?
Like third-party plugins.
Just pictured you like
I put it.
You're like, yeah, I don't use hardware inserts at all, but I do have separate buses for my 16 channels of
Hardware
DBX gates.
I put it in E because I think they're better, more functional gates in other programs, mainly like Neutron.
Yeah, I guess it's like, to me, it's the same as Neutron. It's whatever. It's fine.
I guess, but like, how often are you using a gate?
Quite a lot on vocals. If I get badly tracked vocals, I use gates a lot. But
I
even
attempt
then,
to not get badly. You're RXing those most of the time, though, right?
Sometimes. Most of the time, I just use NS1 from Waves because it does the trick, and then I just print.
Yeah.
it.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So. Glue compressor S tier for me.
I'll allow it only because it's technically not even an Ableton develops plugin. It's made by Cytomic.
Yes, it's a who made it?
I think Cytomic.
Cytomic, yeah.
Yeah, they what's funny is you could buy this plugin, right? But
Really?
it's not the same. It's a little bit different. So it's specific to Ableton. A lot of guys will use this and crush their 2-bus with it. And so there are mix engineers out there that have bought the glue from Cytomic, and then they're like, I copied the settings and it doesn't sound the same. And that's because it's not the same. But no, I like glue
Interesting.
compressor. It's in my cheap master
Yeah.
effects rack that I made.
Oh, dude, you should 100% send me that, and we should give it to people.
It's pretty not good. It's
Well,
the
like, clean it
multi-band
up.
dynamics glue compressor saturator set to the inflator copy, and then Ableton's limiter. It's nothing special. All of
Yeah,
them are
but
just default. Like,
I think people would like it though.
should I make it should I make macros for it so then we can
You can.
start? Dude, it would be so sick if I made like an online product that a bunch of young engineers started using, and it was just terrible. And then like I become like the guy
The sauce.
that like every single mix engineer just despises because they're getting
Yep.
all these blown out roughs, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
People
I'm doing
using
it.
OTT on everything again.
Yeah, that's fire. I'm a big fan.
No, dude. Yeah, make it. I want to make. There's some. Going through these. There's all these plugins are really, really great. Obviously, by the fact that the list is already kind of top heavy, and we haven't even gotten to all of them yet.
I'm not making macros for this because it's designed to be heavily flexible.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm putting it into Dropbox right now.
Sweet, I appreciate you. Yeah, so shoot that over to me. I'm gonna make that that lo-fi guitar rack, and then I'll export that, and then
I have
we'll
a
each
really
have
good I have a
different
really
one.
good guitar rack, but I can't send it because it uses a bunch of third-party plugins that people probably don't have.
Yeah. No, I'm
But
talking
then I
about
also have
using an Ableton only one.
I also have my go-to for just Ableton. But I don't know if I want to
Nice.
give that away, dude.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, do you, listeners? If you want to
Too good.
cop these, there will be a link in the description of this episode on both audio and on YouTube. If you want to grab these free things for Ableton.
Yeah, free things for. Oh, that's not right.
Free things for Ableton. Yeah, glue compressor. I put it at the bottom of S tier
Nice.
because I use it all the time, and I have. Yes, there are plugins that do the same ish thing, but also it's zero latency, which is crazy for what it is.
That's right, baby. I wish that we had something that replaces tube. And that's really why I was diving into dynamic tube.
Yeah, that
I
makes
love tube
sense.
a lot. I wish that we had a really, really good tape emulation from Ableton. That would be so sick.
All right, so here's one that we're coming to one that I've never used. And this is the grain delay. I've never used this.
You've never used the grain delay, dude?
No.
Fire. So that's how you make Sophie snares.
Oh, with the weird tail?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So easy thing to do is you take a flanger, turn the feedback all the way up, make sure it's super slow, like oscillating, and then put that into grain delay, and then put that into drum bus and just like crush it and make sure the transient pops, and then just loop a sound. It could be anything. It could be just like a sine wave. It could be whatever, just a little blip, and then resample that on a loop, and then just keep messing around with the grid. I will even let everybody know what the settings are in case if you want to make a Sophie snare, even though you could find it from the Dank Sauce dude on YouTube. That's his name, by the way. So I think it's been a minute since I did this. You just, on the left side, you just switch it to, I want to say feedback. No, you don't do that. It's frequency or spray is probably what you're going to want to use. Then you can turn off sync, and you're going to put that all the way down to like 5 milliseconds. And then you turn the feedback all the way up. And then you just like play around with the grid while your little blip is playing, and it'll sound cool.
Nice.
Yep, you're welcome.
That's
Easy.
sick, dude. Yeah, I didn't know.
It's
I've
very
never
sick.
used that. I've never had a reason to grab it. This is one of those things where like it's
I'm a
it's a
weirdo.
thing that I know is cool and I probably should use it, and I just haven't, and now you've given me a reason to use it. So where would you
I
place
love
it?
it. I should probably also like preface it by saying it's basically just a harder to use crystallizer. That's the best way
Gotcha.
to describe it. So it's definitely not S.
But
I
it's
wouldn't even give
zero
it
latency.
A. I would probably say it's C.
C?
Yeah,
High C?
yeah. It's
Is
like
it
it
more
deserves.
usable than amp? You got to think of what's in B.
It's
Amp, drum
extremely
bus,
specific though.
and phaser flanger is in B.
It's extremely specific. As far as
Gotcha.
like use cases go, 99.9% of the time I'm reaching for crystallizer instead of green delay.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's all,
Gotcha.
these are just opinions. Two white guys with opinions. That's what we are.
Yeah, that's what podcasts are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll put it in a high C.
Yeah. High C. Great
Like
drink.
the drink.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, the next one is let me
Dude, this is taking
find
so
our
long.
tier list.
There's so many plugins.
There's a lot. That's why I was like I wanted to talk about other things, but also there's so many of these plugins to go through.
Dude, you're gonna have like the auto edit just popping off, just cutting out all the silence in this episode.
Yeah.
My God.
All right. The limiter.
B.
Do you use it a lot?
I do.
It's on a couple of my master buses actually.
It's not as good as Pro L. And
No,
therefore,
but it's
I said the wrong thing.
No latency and like
Ableton plugins aren't actually zero latency.
they're like close to no latency.
There's
zero samples.
There's actually a very big problem with Ableton's not delay compensation, but like how they report.
Yes.
Delay.
Me and you talked about this.
Anyway, I won't get into it. It's stupid. But
it's a techno babble. But I do like if you want something fast that's not going to crush your CPU is mainly what I mean.
Yeah, it's definitely not as good as L1.
No, definitely not.
And it's definitely not good for mastering, but it goes on my 2-bus whenever I'm writing.
Yeah, it's a good like 2-bus. I need something simple to make it loud. Make song loud.
It's a strong B.
Yeah, I agree.
My fiance is just sitting here.
Let's skip through a couple of these. Let's skip through a couple of these. Looper, I've never used it. That's very much a live thing.
Yeah, that thing sucks.
Can we give multiband anything less than an A or an S?
Honestly, it might be the best plugin, and here's why. There are very few good upwards expansion plugins, let alone multiband expansion plugins. And or no, it's not even upwards compression, not expansion.
Yes.
I
understand what you mean.
Upwards compression is like changing my life right now. It's by far the best. I love that it's multi-band, but if you hold down command, it adjusts all the bands at once. And I like it a lot.
It's probably the only plugin that a preset on this plugin has been replicated by a bajillion people into their own plugins.
Yeah, dude. And it rips. It's probably the best Ableton plugin.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's great.
OTT is just incredible. For those that don't know and haven't used it, this is what OTT, all of the plugins that are based around OTT is based off of the preset OTT in the multiband dynamics
yes, sir.
plugin of Ableton.
Yeah.
All right, we'll skip through a couple of these real quick because you're right. I just looked at the time. This is going very, very long. And we still have a good bit to go. Yeah. The overdrive plugin.
C.
I would put it in D just because I think pedal is better.
Yeah, I agree.
I would put it in D, and I would put pedal in C, high C.
That's a good point. I got him confused. Overdrive kind of sucks.
Overdrive, I just never use. So
Yeah, because I would
but
rather
like
use
not that I
pedal.
don't use it, is that like I just don't like it.
Yes.
I've used it plenty of times to have an opinion on it, and I just like don't like it at all. It's like D or E for me.
Yes.
Honestly, if I would actually put it in high, I would put it in E, just because auto filter is more usable,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
that works.
All right. Oh shoot, what is this? That's another plugin that I'm not sure about. Oh, okay. So this one is Redux. Goated
Redux is
plugin.
fire. Yeah, that should
I
probably
love
be.
this plugin, dude. It's so good.
It's just a bit.
I'm glad you agree with me on this.
So it's one of those things where, like, I don't know. I really don't care that much.
I'm so glad you agree with me on this though, because
I
don't have a plugin that does the same thing anywhere else.
Yeah,
other than Pro Tools lo-fi plugin.
Yeah, that's a good point. See, I
That's
was
the
living and
only other
dying by
place.
the Cubase Bit Crusher, so Redux is a huge thing for me. Yeah, I'd probably give it a B or an A.
I'd agree with that. I don't get to. So the thing is, it is very specific in its
And at the end of the
case,
day,
right?
like a bit crusher is a bit crusher. Like,
I just like the way this one sounds. This one sounds great on basically any setting. You're basically just fine tuning to taste.
Yeah.
I will say my favorite place to use this is if I'm making any kind of if I'm doing post-production on like rock or metal songs, using this on either perk loops or hi-hat loops in choruses and like faster parts or like breakdowns and stuff, or like over riffs, it is the sauce for that stuff, dude.
Yeah.
It's so good. All right. I'm putting that. You said B?
Yeah.
That's like high B for me.
Okay.
That's like high B, almost A for me. It's just because it's such a niche use case for it. All right, here's one. So I'm conflicted about this one, and you can tell me how you feel. The Resonator plugin. The thing is, I have seen people just make absolute magic with this plugin.
It's
So,
only usable
I mean,
with the Max for Live add-on for it.
even without it, I've seen like AU5 Austin. He used this thing. I'll have to send you a video of him using this thing. He used this thing and then had it. He automated it to change the chords.
Yeah.
And that's incredible.
So that's what the MIDI add-on does, is you could feed MIDI into
does it?
Yeah. So it tracks. It's good. I use Spectral Resonator way more. You can use Resonator as a mixing tool, which is pretty cool.
Interesting. I've never done that.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? Like, remember the Spectre trick for like drum fundamentals? You could do the same thing with Resonator.
Oh, that's true. I never even thought about that. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's the same idea behind like Corpus. You could do it with that. You could do it with Spectral Resonator. I would give it, just because there aren't that many Resonator plugins out there, I'd probably give it a B.
I'd agree with that.
Like a low B.
But just because low B, I would say I'd probably argue mid-range B.
That's fine.
Like it's below the limiter and the phaser flanger and the bit crusher, but it's above the drum bus and the amp plugin for me.
Yeah.
Just because it is super useful. It's just like the use case of it is so niche, and also you have to be kind of making a very specific kind of music in production to use it like the way it was intended.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so I definitely agree with that. The reverb plugin.
Ooh, it's great. If they made a rack unit, Dude, I made this joke. I was like, I hate rack gear that is super clean because I feel like it defeats the purpose of having rack gear. And then right after that, I was like, maybe I don't, because if they built Arvox into a 19-inch rack unit, I would buy it.
Yeah, 100% print that shit.
You know what I mean?
Immediately.
That's how I feel about Ableton Reverb. It's the best stock reverb plugin, and I use
It's so good, dude.
all of their reverbs are fantastic. I would give it A.
Okay. I would agree with that. I would
Because
say
there's other
right
Ableton reverbs that should be S.
100%. We haven't gotten to those yet because they aren't on this list, so we have to like do some maneuvering.
We'll maneuver.
I'd agree with that. I would say it is below EQ8, but above the compressor.
Yes.
So echo and EQ8 are above the reverb for sure. Because sometimes, I go for Valhalla over that. Sometimes I go to other Ableton plugins over that. It is rare that I go to a different EQ or echo or delay plugin. I maybe go to one other, but I never go to another one other than that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
The saturator plugin.
S tier.
S tier.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. If you flip it over, if you flip it, okay. Here.
Yeah.
Let me guide you through this. So you load up.
Guide me through it, because I always use pedal for what people use the saturator plugin for.
Okay. So if you put it on soft sign, all right, and change nothing else, it will null with Oxford Inflator.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are you turning soft clipping on for that?
You can if you want. I believe that the setting that they found that basically nulls is with it off. But you literally just turn it on to soft sign.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'll link you to the video, and then you could also put it.
Yeah, I'll put that in the description. Yeah. Link me the video, and I'll drop that in here. Text it to me though. Don't
yes,
drop
sir.
it in the chat. Because it's easier for me to grab and toss in. That's super cool. Okay, so where would you, because I tried using it and I just have other things that I like more than it personally. But I didn't realize that it just nulled with it. Like,
dude, I get the worst ads on YouTube. It makes me want to die. They're like, if you're struggling with your vocals, use Xbox. No, because I'm not, because I'm good. Or it's that one dude with a neck beard, which I mean, like, I got a neck beard right now, but he like only has a neck beard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No mustache.
And he's like, are your chord progressions lacking, dude? Because guess what, dude? The chords are already made in this, dude. I hate it. Anyway, okay. S tier, I'd probably put it number 3.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's strong. Just because Oxford Inflator is one of the most iconic plugins of all time, and they're ripping you off, baby.
Yeah, because you can just use the saturator.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I didn't even realize.
And all the different clip settings are great. It's just a good clipper. It's a good inflator replacement. It has a nifty little width knob on it. It's cool. I like it.
That's true. Yeah, the more you're talking about it, the more I'm like, yeah, that is really helpful. And I do use that for that sometimes. And
that's right.
Well, it's not even that you're selling me on it. It's that I'm remembering how many times I use it for like random stuff, and that it is kind of clutch. All right, so let's see. What am I going to next? So we're missing a couple in here. So we'll go back. We'll go back through Spectrum. This is just like a Spectrum is just a
it's like the analyzer, right?
Yeah, it's the analyzer, the spectral analyzer.
I mean,
I
you don't
actually
even
don't
need
use
to
it.
rate it. You could just literally put that in the
I'll put it. I never
W's.
use this because I don't use that one ever. And if I actually don't use it on because I don't mix in Ableton. So I use this. I use an analyzer in Pro Tools, but I use the Paz one because it's good. The tuner plugin.
It's an okay tuner.
Well, maybe just like flatter them and throw it in D.
I actually really like this tuner, mainly because it's convenient, and I would agree with you in D because
It's
it is
one of
what
the
it is.
better
There's
tuner
nothing special.
plugins, but
It's pretty consistent, and it goes super low. That's the other thing that's kind of weird about it. Like
somebody makes a
for
free
tuning
one that's
basses,
better.
I can't remember who. I think it's that Buster dude.
yeah. But once again, like I can leave that tuner on because the thing is that tuner is actually no latency, or like negligible latency, and so I can leave it on a track into a guitar amp sim,
Oh yeah, it's
and
so this tuner that's like really crazy is called Lock On.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's free.
Okay, drop that one in the chat too, just so I can in the text group, so I can add that one to the list as well. But yeah, I really like this tuner plugin mainly because it's just quick and easy to grab and toss in, and it's built into some like bass tracking chains and guitar tracking chains that I have made. Just because it's nice to have and you don't have to think about it. The next one, the goat of all goats. And that's arguable. The utility plugin. I love this plugin.
Yeah, it works.
Mainly, I put it in S tier, probably middle of S tier for me. Mainly because being able to widen the whole track or negatively, like mono it out, or being able to only mono out the bass and just width the top is crazy.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice feature.
That's just a thing that you can do in the utility plugin, just like normally. And you can change where the crossover is, which is really cool. But it's also the only way to get 2 lanes of automation.
Yeah,
Enabled.
I like it. It's good.
I like it. It's good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Lock On is made by Submission. Got it.
Yes, sir.
That's the one you were thinking of. All right, so we're heading to the end of this. Vinyl distortion, have never used it.
Never used it.
Never used it. The vocoder, I actually did use this vocoder.
Their vocoder is kind of cool.
Before I got what is it? Vocal synth?
Yeah.
I used to use this vocoder a lot actually, because you can put the nice thing about it is you can use any synth as the synth engine for the vocoder. So like if you have a really nice pad that you like, that pad can become the synth engine for your vocoder. Which I don't think a lot of people think about. A lot of people are just like, oh, it's a vocoder. It does whatever. But then some other things that it does really cool is like sound degradation as far as, like snares and stuff. You know what I mean? But where would you put it, Josh? Like for me, I'm not going to grab it because I have vocal synth. So I don't automatically grab it.
No, like put it like C. I feel like vocoders kind of suck. You know what I mean? And this one doesn't. So I would just do C.
Okay. I agree with that. Yeah, it's kind of the same as pedal, right? It's like you're not always going to go for it. More than likely not, you're not going to go for it. But when you need it, it's clutch. And it does sound really good.
Yeah.
All right. There's a couple of these left we didn't talk about because this list did not have them.
Yes.
So I'm going to go down through them real quick. And
do you want me to do it? Because I got extra plugins now.
Yeah, you can. If you can remember which ones we didn't do.
Yes, sir. So number one is align delay. It's more of like a utility plugin. It's kind of cool because it's essentially just like a delay compensation, like phase alignment tool, which is very nice. It
I
replaces
haven't tried
waves in
using it on
phase.
drums.
I never do live drums in Ableton, or else I would try. But so I
I
mean
want to
that's
try it.
cool.
I'm saying it's more of a I want to try it just because I want to know how it
Yeah.
works, you know?
Yeah, I mean it's okay. Whatever. The next one that we didn't go over is arrangement looper, which I believe is new for Live 12.
Yeah, I don't have that one.
It's just a way for you to set loops while you're playing back in arrangement view, which is handy. I have zero purpose for it, literally.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'll put that under the last option.
Yeah.
We have, let's see, beat repeat, cabinet, channel EQ, chorus. Oh, color limiter, dude. I love color limiter. It's sick.
I don't have that one. That's a new thing.
Yeah, it's you should have it because it's in 11. It's really really good. It's
Is it a Max for Live plugin?
no. It might be in one of the separate packs that you have to download with Suite. But
I bet it is.
I love it. It's great. It's kind of like the Ozone vintage limiter. It's cool.
Gotcha.
I'll use it in place
That's
of
kind of nice.
L1.
Yeah,
if I
I'll
want
have to
some
grab
dirt.
that one. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It has very very simple controls, which is always nice. But there's just like a little tone knob, and then the saturation amount, and the loudness amount, and your ceiling. It's easy. Just a look ahead, whatever. It's boring stuff. Convolution Reverb and Convolution Reverb Pro. These are not only some of the easiest to use reverb plugins, but they sound unreal, and the IRs that come with it are so good that I copied the folder so I could use it when I'm using other DAWs.
Nice.
I love it. The springs are actually
too.
really good. This is definitely S tier. 100% S tier.
Somehow all of Ableton's like convolution stuff and their spectrum stuff goated.
Yeah.
Like they created something so good, I cannot find other plugins to replicate it. Straight up.
Like I would say color limiter is probably a B tier, and then convolution reverb.
Sure.
We'll just say both of the plugins because the pros, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely S tier.
They're definitely
we have all the CV stuff, which we aren't going to talk about.
Yeah, we don't use
Echo. That. And Envelope Follower is one of my favorite plugins.
Really?
Yes, I absolutely love it. Being able to essentially modulate anything that you want based on the audio that's playing is so sick. It's so sick. I love it.
That's really cool. Yeah,
it's great.
It's basically the audio follow version of LFO.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. So, if you have drums at the transient, it'll trigger, then you can go ahead and say like EQ, right? So you could do an EQ sweep if you want to like clean up toms or something like that. Or if you want to do something creative, you could do that too. So I love it. I would probably say that Envelope Follower is like a strong A just because it's so creative. I haven't seen anybody else include that. It's because the mapping thing is hard. Ableton mapping is so easy, So I would say it's
literally
just
you click the map button and then you click the thing you want to map it to, and it is that simple.
Yeah, it's that easy, dude. And I think that is the reason why it deserves A. We have gated delay. We didn't do gated delay, did we?
No, it wasn't on mine.
It sucks. I've tried using it, can't get it to do what I want it to do. So that's definitely at the bottom.
Yeah.
Hybrid reverb. I'm gonna say this is another S.
Hybrid reverb? It's my favorite reverb that is stock enabled.
Oh, I have another one I gotta send to you. So
Yeah.
this is,
I prefer it over the regular reverb.
if
But
any of
hybrid
you
reverb
guys
is
use this
awesome.
preset that I'm about to provide, it's called Car Trunk. Make sure that you turn the volume down before you press play, because this will add like 20 dB of gain to the channel. But what's cool is this plugin internally clips using the feedback option, and so it literally sounds like you're blaring whatever the audio is into the back of a 2001 Honda Civic with two 12-inch subwoofers in the back of it.
That's so dope.
Dude, it's honestly really sick. I
That's so
use this
dope.
a ton. I do. So that is definitely S tier.
Yeah, I love hybrid reverb. It's so good.
IR measurement device, not even going to talk about it.
LFO plugin.
Did we talk
I
about
like it. I think
Looper?
it's great. Yeah, we did. We put it in.
Yeah, it sucks.
We don't use. Yeah, I
LFO
never
is
use those.
fire.
I love LFO.
It's
It's
an
the thing that
LFO.
made me realize how good Ableton's mapping function is. The first time I used it, I was like, dude, this is so sick.
Yeah, exactly.
And I prefer that and
oh, it's opening max for live.
EQ8 over the auto filter plugin.
Yeah. So next one is Pitch Hack.
Yeah, that one's I haven't used that one yet.
Pitch Hack sounds like the it sounds like Crystallizer.
Mm-hmm.
It's sick. So being that like Pitch Hack gets you like one use of Crystallizer, I'd say it's like a strong B.
I agree with that.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. It replaces a plugin that you don't have if you don't have Crystallizer, it makes that option available to you immediately.
Yeah, we got Pitch Loop 89.
I don't even know what that is.
I've used it once. I didn't really like it. It's like one of those Max for Live devices that they started including with Live.
Gotcha.
We have Prearranger. Track clip name 1. I don't. Oh, wait. This might have been something that I downloaded.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what it does, if I'm being honest with you. Re-enveloper. Have you used this?
No.
It's very sick. So it's a multi-band envelope tool where you can basically change like the attack and decay of like an audio source, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
So you get attack, you get release, and then you have the C/E factor, which is the compressor or expander. So it's basically just multi-band dynamics, but for compression or expansion. Doesn't quite sound how you expect it to, but I've used it quite a few times on drums, and I think it's very cool. I'd probably give it like a D. Give it a D. We already went over resonators.
Yeah, we did all the resonators. We did everything. I think down to like the spectral resonator and spectral time is everything else that we didn't do.
So spectral resonator, definitely S tier. It's a better resonator.
100%. And
spectral
incredible plugins.
Spectral time, I've never used.
I have actually.
I tried.
Spectral time is how that's what I use to make reverse vocal intros.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe I might have to pick it up again.
Yeah, you can use it, grab like a blip and then freeze it and then have it like fade and then reverse the sample and then it makes a nice clean vocal intro. Like swell. If you're making one shot stuff, it's kind of awesome.
I think we only have 2 left aside from like Shaper, but we all know the answer for Shaper.
I would rather use LFO.
Maybe. So we have spectral blur.
Yes, which I don't have that one, I don't think.
You can have it.
too?
It's one of my
It
favorite
must.
plugins.
It might be on the. It might be on the pack that I didn't get. I didn't
Yeah, it
download.
is. Because
So Max for Live one.
it's pitch hack, spectral blur, and then something else that you get. But spectral blur is awesome. If you turn off the halo thing, it sounds very similar to my favorite Valhalla nonlinear trick.
Oh yeah, that thing.
It's very cool. I love it. I would probably give this another S tier just because it's so unique sounding. And then
Yeah.
after that, I think the only one that's left is Roar, the new plugin for 12.
Yeah, which I have no experience with that at all. So that's all you, dude.
Okay, dude. So I kind of sped through everything else because I really wanted to talk about Roar.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And like most of them are kind of like sure whatever plugins. I mean, Spectral
Yeah.
Resonator and Spectral Time are both awesome. So definitely take a look at those. But
So-
that's really also sound design use case.
Yeah.
So tell me
So-
about Roar.
Roar is a multi-band if you want it to be like distortion plugin, right? I started diving into this and it is unreal. The drive knob is just like an input into the module. Then you have your routing. So you could have it single band, you could have it serial, you could have it parallel, you could have multi-band, you could have mid-side, and then feedback. Feedback is crazy. I mean, they're all crazy. So essentially what you can do is you can then choose per band the type of distortion that you're doing. So we have soft sine, digital clip, bit crusher, diode clipper, tube preamp, half wave rectifier, full wave rectifier, like all these different things. Noise injection. It's crazy. Shards. I haven't even used shards yet. That sounds violent. And then you get to choose. Yeah, you get to choose the frequency of your filter that you're using for that band and that distortion, which you get different kinds. They include resampling as one of the filters, which is interesting. Morph, comb filter, and then your standard peak, notch, high pass, low pass, band pass. And now what gets crazy is you can then feed back the distortion through itself, which is so cool because one, it's nice being able to make like feedback in the box, but then also it acts as a very strange, almost crystallizer like delay. You can make sure it's in time, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's super nice.
There's a compressor after all of this, which is also pretty cool. But then where it gets interesting is you have this matrix. So you can have the envelope, which you can design, trigger anything that you want. Same with there's 2 LFOs included, and then you can also modulate based off of the noise, which is really wild. I haven't even dove into the noise section yet. It's kind of intimidating because it's just like a little thing that you choose the noise type and the rate of it. Like it's very, you could go very deep on this. And so if you play around with like the presets, you'll hear that it could either be super simple or it could be super complex. Roar is hands down the coolest distortion plugin that I've ever used and probably the most effective, lightweight, and usable because I was using this on like drum samples, just give them a little dirt. I was using these in place of an entire guitar chain, and then you can also turn it into something that just makes like soundscapes. So I would say that this is at the very top of S tier.
Once again, this is a plugin that's like, how did they think of this? Number one, well, of course, only Ableton would think of something like this. You know what I mean? Because it's just wild.
Yeah.
But also, it's like nothing else is gonna be like this at all.
Yeah. It's,
you know what I mean? It's like that spectral time, spectral resonator kind of thing, like multiband, the way their multiband works. Like it's taking something as simple as distortion and saying, we're going to do so much extra with this.
Yeah. The closest that we have is probably thermal, but thermal kind of sucks to use because it's so CPU heavy.
It is very. I can only use like one instance of it at a time.
Yeah, I don't really. I don't even think I have it installed anymore. And so that's kind of the cool thing about Roar. It just works, but it sounds so cool. And yeah, it's definitely
I would say
top of the list.
it's, and it also, if you already have Ableton, instead of buying thermal, you could just upgrade to Ableton 12. I think for roughly the same cost.
Yeah,
I think it's roughly the same cost. I think it's like $150 for thermal, something like that.
$230 for Ableton.
And $230 for Ableton, but if you wait and just get it on a deal, it's going to be right about the same.
Yeah, it
because they always do Christmas deals. They always do 50% off upgrade deals.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like we messed up. Like we should have made this like a proper video where we just go over like our favorite ones and rank them and show
probably
what they sound like.
But I didn't. For me, it was like I didn't realize that we were gonna have so many ones that you had tried that I had not. I thought it was going to be more of like, I've never used this. Yeah, me either. All right, cool. And you know what I mean? And then like we were just going to go
I looked at the list and I was like, that's not that big. It's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big. Well, what's crazy is the top of the list. It's a very like top heavy leaning list.
Yeah, there's
like
a lot of
obviously
there's a big
there. there's a bunch that we've never used, mainly because like there's duplicates of it in other plugins like inside of Ableton already.
Yeah.
But like you don't see stock plugins having this many like S tier, A tier plugins where it's like I do not have anything to replicate this plugin.
Yeah.
Or it's better than third-party plugins that try to replicate it.
Just wait until we do our instrument one.
Yeah,
I can yell about my favorite filter types.
Yeah, dude. That one will probably have to break into 2 parts though, because I feel like that one will be long.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't used most of the instruments in Ableton, or I don't use most of the instruments in Ableton. I mostly just use Wavetable.
I use
Ableton Wavetable. That's it.
Ableton Wavetable for sure, but I also use a couple of the other ones. There's one that's a really good like clean sub bass. I'll have to remember what that is for later. But anyway, Josh, we'll call it here because it's been a long one. Probably at least an hour and a half once I cut it down. So
yeah.
But Josh, thanks so much for hanging out and ranking all of these Ableton plugins with me.
Anytime, dude. I'm gonna go make some chicken piccata for my sweet baby now.
Dude, do it. I'm gonna go. I think my child is here, so I'm gonna go hang out with him.
Oh, hi, child.
But I will see you later, and I will see you guys later. If you want any of the links that we talked about or some of the free stuff, check the description of this video. And yeah, we should have it all down there for you, links and everything. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Home Studio Hangout podcast. If you could take the time to like, subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other audio platform, go ahead and make sure you're subscribed and also leave a rating and a review. It helps the show get out to new people, and we're trying to grow every single week. Once again, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Home Studio Hangout podcast, and we'll see you next week.